on the adoption of McGraw-Hill Study Sync 2020. This report by the Bilingual ESL Department, Dallas Independent School District. This is a call to implement the McGraw-Hill Study Sync curriculum as the standard curriculum for all English as a second language departments at Dallas ISD. This report is by the Bilingual Department. So teachers, what are we learning today? We're going to talk about, in relation to this report, problems associated with wishing to have the entire district ESL teams embrace the curriculum as the sole curriculum in the daily instruction, the possibilities for adoption wide scale, and the improvement that can follow. What are we learning today? Well, this presentation will highlight the call for action on the need to embrace the curriculum, but it will also talk about some of the problems leading up to the situation we're in today. Part of the problem is we ask ourselves, well, what are we teaching? Analytics on the use of the ELAR, English Language Arts curriculum, and the ESL curriculum adoption or use of this curriculum, since it's been adopted this year, show that less than 25% of teachers have used McGraw-Hill Study Sync, and less than 5% of teachers have used it for more than 30 minutes in any one given week, according to these surveys. But surveys have shown also that 80% of teachers report they just don't have enough time to plan for lessons. Indeed, where does the time go? Well, let's look at these figures. 80% of teachers reporting not having enough time to plan all of their lessons. So they must be busy planning a host of other things, and we understand that. We understand that there are meetings, that there are issues with time management that takes a lot of time from teachers, so that lesson planning becomes something that is very time consuming and perhaps not doesn't yield as much for the hours that are put in. Hence, the implementation of a digital curriculum that sought to address the need to free up teachers' time to do less planning and more execution of those plans with their students. The purpose of this report, or of the report, was to provide compelling proof both that the use of McGraw-Hill Study Sync would lead to improved reading scores in the Dallas Independent School District, as it has been shown to increase scores in other districts. Conversely, failure to implement widely the curriculum MHSS exacerbates and further worsens the problems of academic readiness and reading scores in the district, insofar as reading and language literacy. Furthermore, the failure to change current teaching practices at the various secondary and high school campuses sends a message to stakeholders who are scrutinizing other benchmarks, such as those agencies that are seeking remedies for the especially low scores of English language learners, ESL students, a benchmark measured separately on the federal school report card for whom McGraw-Hill was purchased. These agencies are cited, by the way, on the report in the reference appendix. And where did the last 6 months go? The The situation we're in is this. We know that before the pandemic hit, we were already facing the certainty of other financial factors such as the price of oil. That is beyond the scope of this report. But what is within scope is the idea that the taking into account that the pandemic has set back the progress of many students. A recent New York Times article, or not so recent, by June, we're talking June, a couple of months after the shutdown, the nationwide shutdown as a measure to protect against spread of the virus. New York Times reported that by September, most students nationwide will have fallen behind where they would have been had they stayed in the classroom. Mind you, that was in June. They also cited that students will be forfeiting a full academic year of progress continuing on into September. That is to say now. It further cited disparities in racial or along racial and economic lines. We see these disparities daily as English as a second language and other teachers here see the disparities in terms of adoption and providing of technology to our students. Why embrace this product? And that has been the issue with adoption. Heretofore, principals have had mostly a hands-off approach in terms of what their principals teach. Our audience analysis profiles show that principals, while believing in the adoption of the product, are perhaps loath or tread carefully upon the idea that they would insist their teachers adopt one same curriculum, particularly on those campuses where individualized instruction is more highly prized or more highly advocated for than in districts where there are less numbers of a myriad of demographics. So, and in addition to that, we know that principals, according to the audience profile sheets, are always aware of the hit to morale, the lowered morale that may come from teachers having to embrace a product from the top down, and that to be told by principals to do something that heretofore has not been implemented, has not been advocated. But why embrace this product? Numbers, they say, don't lie, or if they lie, people find out about it. Analytics are those figures, those statistics that can tell us whether and how students are able to adapt to a modern curriculum, able to show the feasibility of having this curriculum supplant the daily in-person instruction, as has been supplanted in the last 6 months and looks to be continuing in Dallas ISD, even as we go toward we have embraced a hybrid model where students are allowed to come back in the last few weeks, but that many are choosing to stay home. Therefore, they need viable models of instruction and educational tools in the home. We also need to think about our stakeholders. We need to assure them that the financial investment of McGraw-Hill Study Sync, which was no small amount, but again, the figures, the dollar amounts are a bit beyond the scope of what this report is about. Simply to say that we do take into account that stakeholders, having invested heavily, expect a return on their investment. And by stakeholders, we certainly mean the taxpayer. We certainly mean the parents whose time, efforts, and taxes go toward the purchase of products such as McGraw-Hill Study Sync. And analytics are the gift that keeps on giving. Having studied analytics for one segment of time, we are able to frame future implementations of curriculum and other resources, and even the allocation of teachers to the models that have been shown by the analytics. We therefore must take into account that adoption shows us the way toward best practices in the future. Noting that analytics is a monitor-intensive process, a process and a paradigm that entails monitoring, we do realize that there are concerns by teachers about a system that monitors and keeps track of the usage, of the times, and even the locations that the system is deployed. For the issue of monitoring, for the question of monitoring, we know that FERPA is the set of rules by which the district dearly abides. We know that there are rules of privacy in place. We know there are sanctions for running afoul of violations of the Privacy Acts enshrined in FERPA. We know also that Dallas ISD is in full compliance. We know that there have been little to no accusations or violations of FERPA that have been raised in any of the last number of years. And so we are confident that the monitoring tools and the analytics used by McGraw-Hill StudySync are data that is safeguarded by both the company and the district. And we know that there are voluntary agreements that have been signed by teachers as a condition and as a part of the orientation, the hiring orientation. Teachers have abided by these agreements once signed. And so they agree to be, for example, monitored in terms of their email, the times and the places to which they go in the building is monitored. We know that there are cameras in just about every building now of the Dallas Independent School District. That kind of monitoring is countenanced. That kind of monitoring has been sanctioned for years. It is part and parcel of the recent paradigms to ensure and to assure safety of both students and staff. The monitoring by data products such as McGraw-Hill StudySync are part and parcel of the new paradigms of ensuring that cybersecurity is also part of the process and the equations in assuring the safety of students and staff. So how can we encourage acceptance? And for that, we go back to numbers. Numbers are something that principals do not ignore. Statistics on reading levels, on reading success, on reading failures. These are numbers that are part and parcel of the evaluations of school leadership, school administrators. And looking at numbers like these, brought by usage statistics and analytics made possible by McGraw-Hill's stable of analytical tools, you'll see that in each of the 4 districts that were studied, and those, by the way, were part of the studies that made possible the bidding and the process by which this curriculum was decided upon by the stakeholders and by the decision makers at the district, you will see that in each district where this model, where this curriculum, where these tools were adopted, you will see on the right, post-adoption, here in Texas, each of these districts experienced increases in their respective districts. You will just note, and again, these are figures, these are data that are not ignored by the principal, who is aware that his own or who principals are aware and conscious of the fact that these numbers have an impact on their own report cards, so to speak, on their own evaluations, on their ability to seek out promotions or to simply have standing in the community. These figures are important and they are not normally ignored by principals. Having said that, and having seen these are the data that should drive decision making in terms of the principal making decisions to have this embraced or have this used on a daily basis by his or her teachers. Promise. This is one of the central roles of the principal to fulfill the promise of her or his respective campuses. Promise. Promise with advocacy. Advocacy of this curriculum and its tools will surely help drive wide-scale implementation. That's what principal leadership is about. Principal leadership is indeed about advocacy. Principal leadership is about driving or using that advocacy to drive improvement. Given the principal's advocacy for adoption, there is indeed a high likelihood of buy-in from secondary and high school teachers, since STAR and related end of course exams do have a direct impact on teacher evaluations, as well as the personal evaluations of the administrators who expect classroom teachers to comply with official administrative requests. And then there is the campus improvement plan, because we said it's about improvement. We go from problems, we go to promise, and we go to improvement. And every campus in Dallas ISD has its campus improvement plan, and it is here that we hope our recommendations are seen, are looked into, so that it has a chance of finding its way in some form into the campus improvement plan. That in so doing, principals would be more advocates, greater advocates of, or assured advocates of implementing the adoption and embrace of the curriculum across the district. And again, this department seeks for the adoption and embrace immediately of the English as a second language departments, over which it has the province of the mandate and the mission to assure that ESL, ELL instruction is the best it can be, and that we use and implement the best tools that can be used. But without the role of the principal, this is very difficult. But such adoption will yield improvement as measured by the analytics, again, of other districts. But there is one more element that we can ensure. We, the bilingual ESL department, do realize that there is a need for professional development, or an increased need for professional development. We saw that during the summer, professional development webinars were provided to teachers, whole district-wide. And so, insofar as professional development goes, well, the department, the Office of Bilingual Education ESL Programs, has been providing professional staff development since the beginning of the current school year, and that includes the school year that began in August, in the form of live webinars and have provided recordings of these live events to Dallas ISD teachers via Google Drive accounts and storage shared by the Office of Bilingual Education Programs, and at Office of Bilingual ESL Programs expense. Admittance to any of these webinars has been open to any teacher who wishes to attend. The office, furthermore, has continued to offer professional development on Saturdays, paying for up to 3 presenters, and paying for up to 3 presenters and an additional presenter to train teachers in the use of McGraw-Hill StudySync. These are also open to any district staff who wish to attend. Office of Bilingual Programs continues to invest in training teachers, but it recognizes that it has other needs. And as such, the office will request, in addition to advocating for use of the curriculum, that principals also inform their teachers that McGraw-Hill StudySync has live online tech support via one-to-one chat from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. This technology support is part of the budgeted resources as analytics has also indicate, and that they are infrequently accessed by Dallas ISD users. And that includes weekends as well. Conclusions and recommendations. Reading and language scores must increase. So please, let's follow the data. They must increase these scores, and McGraw-Hill and StudySync and the curriculum was purchased with a view toward this mission. In keeping with that goal, it is imperative that teachers increase the implementation of the curriculum. It has been proven in other districts. It will be proven in Dallas Independent School District. Be aware, furthermore, of the impact on the most at-risk students. Data on the effects on all learners from the shutdown of schools has exacerbated already existent problems of decreased academic readiness. And it is in the interest of all learners and all teachers to deploy all available means to address this issue. McGraw-Hill StudySync was purchased to address these issues before the shutdown. And at this time, it is doubly important to implement new, proven, and provable methods of teacher modalities. And finally, let us please be conscious of the stakeholder and stakeholder investments. This is a curriculum that is bought and paid for. Let us now show the stakeholders that they will get a handsome, a wonderful return on their investment. Thank you very much. And if you need further assistance, our office can be reached at these numbers. There's the address, and the numbers that you see there are current as of the writing and delivery of this report and this presentation. Again, thank you very much for listening. We hope to hear from you soon. And one more number that you may take, I see it listed there, and the email address is listed there for comments and requests and other questions. Thank you very much for listening. And thank you very much for being with us. There is more in the departments that you see listed there in the website. Have a great day. It's customary here in the district to give our email out at the end. Please contact me at my address there, rDiaz@dallasisd.org. I am a teacher here in Dallas Independent School District. I have served this district for going on 10 years, and in all but 2 of those years, or all but 1 of those years, I have served in the capacity of a teacher of bilingual education, bilingual instruction to elementary through 12th grade students. And in any of those years, the 1 year that I did not teach English as a second language, I taught a foreign language. I taught Spanish. We have we have a large number of English language learners here in Dallas Independent School District, and this discipline seeks to have teachers taught and trained to provide the best ESL instruction. And many of us here in the department do advocate and believe in the use of this curriculum as a tool that will help teachers buy back some of their time, get back some of their time, so that the time is spent in lesson delivery and execution of the lesson and its activities, and less time on the small details of working out an actual lesson plan instrument. So please, thank you once again for being with us. But I wanted to share that with you, that personally I do have a stake in all of this, and it warms my heart that other teachers work as hard as they can, and that we do spend so much of our time planning the lessons and those sorts of activities. So please take it to heart when I say that I hope that this adoption and this embrace of this curriculum is something that is more successful, more widespread, and that we hope that that promise leads to improvement all across the district and all across our great city. Thank you.